are listening to Behind the Veil.
Project NeedleGate. You're listening to Behind the Veil. This is Miller. The distance between enlightenment and madness is a single breath. Tonight, like all others, we measure our breath once again, check the world's temperature, and inform our discretion. Tonight, we're diving headfirst into a rabbit hole that's been buried deeper than a Cold War bunker. Project NeedleGate. Buckle up, folks, because if you think the government's been straight with you about space, tech, and what's really out there, well, you haven't been paying attention. Let's start with the basics. Kimura Industrial. A name that should ring bells if you're anywhere near the Gratiot, Michigan area. Founded in the post-World War II boom, they were the quiet giants of aerospace tech. At their peak in October 2023, they boasted around 4,800 employees, over half crammed into that one sprawling facility in Michigan. But here's the kicker. Nobody talks about them. Why? Because every soul who walked through those doors, from the PhD-wielding engineers tweaking quantum gizmos to the janitors mopping up after midnight experiments, signed NDAs that make the Manhattan Project look like a casual non-compete clause. We're talking top-secret level security clearances, straight out of Uncle Sam's playbook. Even the guy emptying the trash bins had to swear eternal silence or face consequences that go way beyond a pink slip. Life-ending paperwork, my friends. Spilled coffee? Try spilled realities. I'm using the past tense for a reason. As of last week, Kimura's Gratiot HQ, it doesn't exist anymore. Poof, vanished under a FEMA quarantine blanket after the so-called Black Tornado event on January 16, 2026. The whole road leading to the facility, US 127 South, got swallowed up, barricaded, and scrubbed from the maps faster than you can say cover up. I'll drop a full sit rep on that tornado in a future episode. Spoiler, it wasn't Mother Nature throwing a tantrum. Be patient, dudes and dudettes. The dots connect in ways that'll keep you up at night. So, what's NeedleGate got to do with all this? Let's rewind the tape to the late 1970s. Hideyoshi Kimura, the founder and CEO, a visionary or a madman, depending on who you ask, was swimming in fat Department of Defense contracts. Radar systems, missile guidance tech, the works. But Hideyoshi? He wasn't content with earthbound toys. His eyes were on the stars, and America was still licking wounds from Sputnik. Billions poured into aerospace like a broken fire hydrant, and some of that cash got funneled into Project NeedleGate. Now I've dug into the patent filings. Yeah, public documents if you know where to look. According to U.S. patent records from around that era, NeedleGate was pitched as a limited geospatial expansion of a terrestrial body into a contained, expanded iteration. Techno-jargon salad, right? Let me break it down. Imagine a bag that holds 11 marbles. NeedleGate, it makes that bag hold 12, or 50, or 1,000. We're talking cramming more space inside something than physics says it should contain. Extra dimensions on demand, folks. Clearly, screwing up the 3 dimensions we already had wasn't good enough. Core mission, think folding reality into origami to fit bigger payloads and smaller packages. Perfect for stealth bombers, satellites, or who knows what else. But power? Oh, it guzzled energy like a black hole at an all-you-can-eat buffet. The DoD wasn't thrilled, especially when Kimura started siphoning funds without a permission slip. Not his first rodeo coloring outside the lines. Historical DoD outlays from the 1970s show aerospace spending skyrocketing to $1.8 billion just for space activities, including manned flights and experimental tech. NeedleGate? It was right in that mix, buried under layers of classified red tape.
Expansion protocols initiated. Containment field held stable for 17 minutes.
And here's where it gets really juicy. In 1972, Hideyoshi wasn't flying solo. He had a partner. Aldous Clayton, yeah, that Clayton. The family name, now whispered in the shadows of paramilitary ops and black-budget conspiracies. Reddit threads on conspiracy subs are littered with theories about the Claytons. Ties to shadowy banking ops in the 1940s, like Prescott Bush's Union Banking Corporation getting shut down for links. Aldous? He was cut from the same cloth. Rumors of CIA black ops, unexplained tech patents for spatial data processing systems that sound suspiciously like early NeedleGate prototypes. The test site, a fortified warehouse rigged with a localized nuclear reactor? Micronuke reactors are real, people. I've been trying to tell you this for a decade. Their geo-gizmo worked for exactly 17 minutes. A hangar built for 5 stealth bombers suddenly squeezed in 6. Champagne? Checks cashed? Not so fast. Weirdometer pegged into the red. Off the charts. Eyewitness accounts. Leaked memos I've got copies of. Talk about personnel on site who weren't on any roster. A woman in a jumpsuit, sporting a Leap Aerospace logo, spouting tech details that blew Hideyoshi's mind. She vanished post-test. No logs, no traces. Another tech swore he saw a man in a gray suit, flashing credentials from nowhere. Spooks? Probably. Langley had to have eyes on this thing. Beyond that, your guess is as good as mine. Then, the door. Yeah, a freaking elevator door. In a single-story warehouse with no basement, no elevator shaft, just a pristine metallic door. Not sure if anyone went in or even tried to, but if they did, they didn't return. When the reactor powered down, the expansion didn't collapse, as Hideyoshi promised. It burst outward like a quantum bomb. A guard shack a quarter-mile away, obliterated. Echoes of the Philadelphia experiment vibes, ships vanishing, crews fused to decks. But this was spatial, not temporal. Fast forward to January 15th, 2026. Satellite frames I snagged before the scrub show Gratiot lighting up like a Christmas tree. Energy spikes off the charts, right before the tornado. And Hideyoshi? Was he a Christian? Because that phrase, NeedleGate, has some biblical connotations behind it. Nope. Dig deeper, and you find ties to esoteric groups. Whispers of a board pulling strings, blending Eastern mysticism with Western tech. Aldous Clayton's descendants, still in the game, funding geospatial patents that scream NeedleGate 2.0.
Miller. I work cleanup at Gratiot. I saw things, doors popping up in line routing hubs, access hatches with an extra hatch next to them. I work these sites daily. This shit ain't normal, man.
That's from a tip line drop. Real? Or maybe I just signed my own death warrant. But here's the question. If NeedleGate punched holes in reality back then, what's leaking through now? Aliens? Alternate us? Or worse, something that's always been here, waiting. Next episode, we crack open that can of worms, the board, and why they're obsessed with space. This is Miller, Behind the Veil. Stay awake and keep an umbrella handy. You never know when the sky will open again.